This is the tractor that we will use to demonstrate tappet setting. By clicking on links in the information window, you will be able to see the tractor using different viewpoints and fly-throughs. A fly-through can be deactivated by clicking on the 3D window. Let's have a first look at the tractor. You can see the front, side and top views. When you are done viewing the different perspectives of the tractor, you can select Configuration 2 to open the bonnet of the tractor. The bonnet is now open and the engine is visible. We will now learn how to use the zoom, pan and rotate functions using the buttons at the bottom of the screen. To zoom, pan or rotate, click on the respective button to activate the function. Then left-click on the 3D window and move your mouse without releasing it. When you are comfortable with the 3D navigation, you can go ahead and select Configuration 3. In this configuration, we can see the engine and the tools used for tappet setting. Socket spanner, flywheel turning tool, timing pin, spanner 13 mm, feeler gauge 0.35 mm and 0.45 mm. Move your mouse over each tool to identify it. When you know all the tools used for tappet setting, you can go ahead and select Configuration 4. In this configuration, the engine is presented in a disassembled state. Let us now identify all the components relevant to tappet setting. Breather tube, rocker arm cover, inlet and exhaust valves. Move your mouse over each component to identify it. When you know all the components, you can go ahead and watch a video of tappet setting. When you have finished watching the video, you can test your knowledge in Unit 2 and Unit 3. Hello, welcome to our workshop. Now we will learn about components used in tappet setting. By the end of this activity, you will be able to identify the components used in tappet setting. Now we will start the component identification. Double-click on the breather tube to identify it. Well done! You have identified breather tube correctly. Double-click on the rocker arm cover to identify it. Hey, sorry, this is rocker arm cover. We are now going to identify the intake and exhaust valves of cylinder 1, cylinder 2 and cylinder 3. Double-click on intake valve of cylinder 1 to identify it. Well done! You have identified intake valve of cylinder 1. Double-click on the intake valve of cylinder 2 to identify it. Sorry, the highlighted component is the intake valve of cylinder 2. Double-click on intake valve of cylinder 3 to identify it. Well done! You have identified intake valve of cylinder 3. Double-click on exhaust valve of cylinder 1 to identify it. Well done! You have identified exhaust valve of cylinder 1. Double-click on the exhaust valve of cylinder 2 to identify it. Well done! You have identified exhaust valve of cylinder 2. Double-click on the exhaust valve of cylinder 3 to identify it. Well done! You have identified exhaust valve of cylinder 3. Now, we are going to check our knowledge. Hello! Welcome to our workshop. Today, we will learn about tappet setting. By the end of this activity, you will be able to perform the tappet setting for smooth, efficient operation of the engine. First, we will understand why and when we do the tappet setting. Insufficient valve clearance can result in loss of compression, misfiring cylinders, and eventually burned valve seats. Excessive valve clearance will result in noisy operation and valve lock damage. Okay, we get our work started now. Well, remember that you can see the elapsed time and your score on the top side of the screen. Let's start tappet setting by removing breather tube, rocker arm cover and cap screws. Select the correct tool from tool panel and double-click on the components. Well done! You have selected the socket spanner. Now install the flywheel turning tool. Select the right tool and double-click on the component where the tool should be inserted. Good going. Now install the timing pin. Select the right tool and double-click on the component where the tool should be inserted. Well done. Turn the flywheel by 360 degrees to lock the TDC position in compression stroke of the first cylinder. To check that the TDC position is in compression stroke, you should verify that the valve spring of the first cylinder is opened. You can check also that the push rod is free. Now we can do the tappet setting of valve number 1, 2, 4 and 5, that is, both valves of first cylinder. Second cylinder's exhaust valve and third cylinder's inlet valve. Let's start with valve number 1. Select the right tool and double-click on the valve to use it. We need to be smarter here. Use 0.35 mm feeler gauge for intake valve clearance setting. Let's adjust the valve clearance to obtain a smooth pull on the feeler gauge. For that, we need to loosen or tighten the check nut. Select the right tool and double-click on the check nut. Well done. Now for easy pass of the feeler gauge, loosen or tighten the check nut on rocker arm with the help of 13 mm spanner. You will see the feeler gauge being automatically inserted. It should not be too loose or too tight. In technical terms, we call this as snug fit. Click on the Validate button when you think that you have obtained a snug fit. Yes, you have done it. You were able to fix the issue by doing tappet setting correctly. Now, do the tappet setting of valve number 2. Well done. Let's adjust the valve clearance. Select the right tool and double-click on the check nut. Well done. Now loosen or tighten the check nut. Click on the Validate button when you think that you have obtained a snug fit. Not really. You have not achieved the snug fit. Now do the tappet setting of valve number 4. Well done. Let's adjust the valve clearance. Select the right tool and double-click on the check nut. Well done. Now loosen or tighten the check nut. Click on the Validate button when you think that you have obtained a snug fit. Yes, you have done it. You were able to fix the issue by doing tappet setting correctly. Now, do the tappet setting of valve number 5. Well done. Let's adjust the valve clearance. Select the right tool and double-click on the check nut. Well done. Now loosen or tighten the check nut. Click on the Validate button when you think that you have obtained a snug fit. Yes, you have done it. You were able to fix the issue by doing tappet setting correctly. Now, we are going to check our knowledge.